Well, welcome to Monday. This is Pastor Scott in the Summer Psalms, and we're going to continue our conversation. We talked about on the weekend about freedom, and now here it is, the 6th of July, and we want to kind of continue the conversation. I want you to look at Psalm 39, and you'll have a study guide that'll help you go along with this, but I want to give you some high points of this as you read through the Psalm, and I want to just cover them high points really quickly. Now, in Psalm 39, this is what the psalmist is saying. He's saying this: life is short. That's what he's saying. He said, our lives come and go, and they breed and they gone, and you're done, and you're like a vapor. And David wrote this understanding the brevity of his life. And as I look back and at the age I am now, boy, time is it flies by. And it seems like the older I get, the quicker it goes by. And I think some of you could relate to that. But in this life, this short life, there's some things I think we need to hold on to. Here's the first thing that the psalmist is saying: your words matter. What you say and how you say it matters. And I realize this as a leader, that my words carry so much weight to the ones that I'm leading. I call them 10,000-pound words. And I'll give you a word picture. You can put a pebble on a buffalo's back and he doesn't notice it. You put a pebble on a butterfly's wing and it kills it. And that's how our words are. They could be to somebody who doesn't care, doesn't not work with you, that just doesn't matter. But somebody you're close to, somebody that matters, and you drop heavy words on them, it kills them. So we have to be careful of our words and how we say things and what we say. And so the psalmist is saying, and it's David again, saying, pay attention to your words. Then the second thing he says, which I think is really important, he says to choose to number your days. In fact, he says this: Lord, make me aware of my end and number of my days, so that I will know how short-lived I am. In fact, you have made my days just inches long, and my lifespan is nothing to you. Now, I want you to think about this word picture. I'll give it to you. That if we took a string, a cable, and we took it out to the far as we could to this horizon, and then we took that same cable and we stretched it out as far as we could to this horizon. You're out on the edge of the horizons, on these edge of horizons, from end to end. And then we took a marker, a little black Sharpie marker, and then we marked a little bitty tiny mark in that long cable. That mark represents your life in the scope of eternity. How you choose to live that means to mark your days. To mark your days. That every day matters. I can stop living in the past. I can stop living in the future, but I can live in the presence of God, knowing Him, being fully aware of Him, and living all for Him in the very moment of my life. Choose to number my days. And here's the last thing I want to give to you, and I hope it will help. In this stretched out cable of eternity on that small scratch, why not live all for Jesus? Why not lay aside everything else? And this is what the psalmist is saying. Of course, he doesn't call him Jesus. He calls him God, and we know Jesus is God. Why not live all for Jesus? Lay aside the sins that so easily entangles you, the writer of Hebrews said, and live with your eyes fixed on Jesus, the author and the finisher of our faith. To say, okay, Jesus, I'm yours, and Jesus, I'm going to live for you. That Jesus, you being in my rising and my lying down. You be my comings in and going out. You be with me in my relationships, in my conversations, in my vocation. Everything I do in the present moment is focused on you. There's some writers, Henry Nouwen, one of them, Brother Lawrence, another one, that talked about the discipline of living in the presence of God. The psalmist in Psalm 39 says, number my days, realize I need to live in His presence, stop rushing around in vain, and live all for Jesus. So maybe this will spur some conversation in your group life. I hope so. Maybe in your personal life. I hope so. But take advantage of the resources we've given you and lean into Psalm 39 on the Summer Psalms and live all for Jesus. On the scratch, the tiny dash on the line of eternity. I hope this helps.